Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts. And today, listeners, I've got a lovely returning guest, a good friend of mine, Caroline Ackroyd. She's a hypnotherapist and love coach. And we're going to be talking about how to attract a high value man. Now, we all want one of those, don't we? So welcome, Caroline.
Hi, Lyn. Thank you so much for having me back. So exciting. And this is a topic that I'm deeply, deeply passionate about. And yes, women are all curious about, how do I attract a high value man? I know that was at the forefront of my mind when I was dating, and it was very frustrating, to be having experiences with ghosting and all of these frustrations and disappointments that we know we go through in dating. And that was my journey to find out what needed to happen for me to attract a high value man.
Exactly, because I think sometimes we can be focused on maybe past experiences, or even if we've had some good past experiences, if we start getting a lot of, I suppose, negative responses to our current dating experience, whether that's online dating or in person, and you're not meeting good quality men, you start to think, well, is there any, don't you?
Yes, I love that you went there, Lyn. The tendency then starts to be, there are no good men left, or where are they, right? And the question that needs to be asked is, why am I attracting these types of men? Because our exterior is always mirroring the inside, our interior, how we see ourselves and how we feel. So I know the tendency is to go, there are no good men out there anymore. Where are the high value, good ones? But it's not. And that's what the focus is of my work and my message to women. We can get into that.
Absolutely, because I think, as the saying goes, where focus goes, energy flows. So if we're focused on, oh my God, I'm attracting all these, men that are not either high value or good quality or a good match, might be perfectly nice guys, but not obviously aligned with what you're wanting to attract, then what is happening, and where is my focus going that's allowing that to be my current reality?
Exactly. And so what is the secret, or the starting point to attracting a high value man is for you to have a high self-concept, how you view yourself. And you need to view yourself as a high value woman and really feel that. And there we're talking about high self-worth, a lot of self-love and confidence that comes from having this high self-image of being a worthy, valuable, deserving woman. That is the starting point to attracting a high value man.
Absolutely, 100% agree. So where do we start on that journey? Because if actually, we are looking in the mirror and thinking, even if we're not actually saying it out loud, that, I'm getting on a bit now, not looking so hot, and I suppose being negative towards our own self-image without even realizing it half the time, then what do we need to do to change that?
Okay, so changing our self-perception. So if I'm feeling insecure about myself, whether it is about my body or just how I am, that is going to reflect in my dating, right? But so that it's going back to how you view yourself, the internal dialogue and thoughts and feelings that you're having while dating. So if you're thinking so concrete, let's say you're on an app and you look at a picture, a profile of a guy, and you think, oh, he's too good for me. He's out of my league. That is an indication that you're not feeling enough. Your self-concept is too low for the guy that you would really like to be dating. So that is like, I'm not enough. So that not enough is what has to be worked on. But that would be one way of knowing, okay, I'm not feeling enough because I'm not feeling good enough for that guy that I really would like.
Yeah, absolutely. Or it can be the other way around where, a nice guy might come along, but they don't feel enough, or they feel like, they're punching above the weight when they meet you and are feeling intimidated.
That can absolutely be true as well. But as we're talking about like attracting the high value man, what tends to do then, what we tend to do if we're not feeling worthy, confident, with a high self-concept of being deserving, is you tend to settle. You tend to settle for the guy that you're not really making your heart sing.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is because he might be in a position where he can make us feel safe, and quite often, that's enough for some women to just feel safe with a guy.
Yes, and we need to feel safe with whoever we're with. But we want to have that relationship that feels incredible, right? It's going to set your heart on fire. So it all starts there with that high self-concept, the confidence, worthiness, and feeling deserving.
So how does somebody that's not currently feeling all those things start that journey then, Caroline?
Okay, so as a hypnotherapist, it goes with looking at where that negative self-talk or those beliefs, that feeling of not being enough, for example, where did that start? And it's always in early childhood that something happened, there was an event, and which can be very small, but in that moment you thought, I must not be good enough. And that's the belief and the feeling that has stayed. So that is what needs to be resolved and healed.
I can actually give an example of that. I can remember when I was about 12 or 13, my parents always had a very volatile relationship. And quite often my mum would end up going out the front door, slamming the door, and just needing to create space, and my dad turned to me and he said, Lyn, go and run after your mum and tell her to come back. And I can remember this one time I did run after her, and I said, Mum, come back, please. And she almost spat in my face and she says, leave me alone. She says, I wish you'd never been born. Now, I understand now, I have compassion for that remark now, although at the time, obviously, it was devastating. But I can understand how now, looking back on their relationship, how she felt trapped in that marriage and how she felt even more trapped because she had got children. And I can sort of forgive her now for that remark. But obviously, internally at the time, and obviously going forward, I can remember, it impacting my life to a great extent in thinking, well, my mum doesn't love me, and if my mum doesn't love me, then how can I expect anybody else?
Exactly. I'm sorry to hear that, Lyn. But that is the kind of event that shapes us, leaves that mark until we heal that, right? Because it affected your self-image. Like, wow, if my mom doesn't love me, then I must not be lovable or enough for her to love me. And then you go through life with that, and everything comes from that. Your what you think you deserve and your confidence. So it affects your entire life, how you show up in your life. And to attract a high value man, you need to be showing up as a very confident, and it's not a fake confidence of I'm going to put on some beautiful clothes and some makeup. No, it has to be real confidence within, because a high value man can sense that. That's the difference. So it's not some makeup that is going to convince or make a man feel like, wow, she's got that magical energy where she's soft and confident at the same time.
Yeah, because we're not even conscious, are we, that we're exuding certain energies that are impacting our relationships, not only with guys, but with everybody. And I obviously wasn't conscious of what I was exuding at that time in terms of what I then attracted in my future relationships. But, looking back, I can realize that that was one of the events now in hindsight that led to me attracting what I did.
Yes, it absolutely makes all the difference. How you perceive yourself, how you're feeling about yourself, whether you're feeling enough or not enough, is going to impact that intangible thing, right? The energy that you're putting out, but that is felt by others. But it shows in other ways, Lyn. It shows in your body language, in your posture, how you hold yourself up. Can you make eye contact with a man and not feel intimidated and lower your gaze? Can you carry a conversation with a man? And if we're talking about a high value man, then he's going to be a confident man, right? And so he's going to be looking for that, and he knows how to identify that in other people and in a woman. Can she look at me in the eyes? Can she have a conversation and not feel intimidated by being even in my presence? Because obviously he's high value, he's going to look the part. Can you hold yourself in that presence?
Absolutely. So what could be something that you could share with our audience around how to actually start the road of healing what may have happened in the past that's affecting how you're either showing up or what energy you're currently exuding that you may or may not have even been aware of up until this point, to start to change that? Because obviously it's not an overnight thing usually. You can't sort of be very anxious, worried, fretful, fearful, feeling horrible about yourself one day, and then suddenly you're bright, bushy-eyed, bushy-tailed, and super confident the next. It is a little bit of a process, isn't it? So what could start that process?
Okay, Lyn, so you're absolutely right. It is a journey, it's a process, and that is what people like me, hypnotherapists, help with. But I would say listen to your inner dialogue. So become really aware of the thoughts that you're thinking. What are you telling yourself? So imagine that if you were somebody, if someone else were telling you the things that you're telling yourself, would you be friends with them?
Good
Would you
question.
stay friends with them? Because often we go like, oh, I'm so stupid. Well, imagine if a friend told you that, you're so stupid. Would you remain friends?
Yeah, we can be our worst critics, can't we?
Absolutely. So imagine that the way you think you're talking to yourself, would you accept that from someone else? And if you don't, then that is negative self-talk. And the words that we say to ourselves are the ones that stay with us. Because every thought we think, every word we say to ourselves creates a feeling in our body, a physical response. So if I'm telling myself, oh, I'm not pretty, he's not gonna take a look at me, I don't have a chance in the world with X guy that I really would like, you're telling yourself that you're not good enough. You yourself are reaffirming that, and your mind listens to what you're saying. What you tell yourself becomes your self-perception. So let's start there. So become aware of what you're telling yourself. Catch yourself and turn that around. I'm beautiful. I'm good enough for the right person for me. No one has to be perfect, but we do have to be loving ourselves. And it's going to start with just having more compassion, more self-acceptance. And that's the beginning. Can you be best friends with yourself.
And it is a process, because becoming more aware and becoming more conscious of the thoughts that we're thinking and what we're telling ourselves, is quite often a process where you make mistakes, and you catch yourself, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, why, my goodness, I'm catching myself, beating myself up quite a lot. But eventually, if I keep catching yourself and changing the narrative, it does become almost automatic that you never start to then have a negative thought about yourself, or very rarely.
Yes, yes. And this is a little trick you can do, a tip. Have a rubber band, put it on your wrist, and when you catch yourself having a negative thought about yourself, saying something negative about yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty, I'm not smart, whatever it may be, snap that rubber band. And you will start learning not to do that. And instead, at that moment, you're building self-awareness, and to change that pattern, right? Because it's just a habit of belief. It's a thinking habit that is making you feel and behave like someone that is not enough. That's where it all starts, right, Lyn? I think I'm not enough, whatever, not pretty, not good, etc. So I feel that way, and that's going to show in how I show up, how I behave, how I talk. In every way, I'm going to come in with my shoulders drooping. I'm not going to exude the confidence that is attractive to a high value man, right? So I need to start that process. And just to build that self-awareness, even something like having a rubber band and snapping it, you're like, ouch, that thought hurt.
I love that idea. It's a great idea. Yeah, it's a good way to sort of, I suppose, remind yourself how, probably initially, how regularly you're having negative self-talk around yourself. Because when you look at people, celebrities, for example, a lot of them are either naturally beautiful, or they've had work done, and they exude the confidence on the back of having that work done, whatever that might be, to look more beautiful. But are they really thinking it internally? And when you see celebrities having relationship problems, that's when you know that they're not actually thinking it internally, or even exuding it externally, because otherwise you wouldn't be seeing their relationships crumble and fail, and all the drama that goes with being a celebrity.
Absolutely. So people can put on a facade, and that can actually make us have that negative self-talk, right? You think everyone else is perfect, and they're having that perfect relationship, and you're thinking, oh, I don't have that. So then again, it reinforces that I must not be enough, only to find out that they too have problems, right? But let's take an example of just the perfection. Our Lady Di, right? Lady Diana, beautiful fairy tale life kind of exterior, right? But inside, she did not feel enough.
Yeah.
And look what happened, So it's it's not about the exterior, about having the beauty or having the money. It's about the interior. Do you truly feel worthy, confident, and do you love yourself enough that you would attract and choose someone that loves you that way? It sets your own standards. It sets your standards when you have that high self-perception and that self-love. I deserve better.
Absolutely. And you know what? There are plenty of people, plenty of couples that you may have looked at that you've thought, he's a really good, high value man. He's really attractive, but he's not necessarily with a woman that you think is stunningly beautiful. But obviously she is beautiful on her inside, because energetically he was attracted to that energy, not the external necessarily, looks that you think, oh, she's not much to look at, really.
Yeah.
I would be a better match, or whatever is going through your own head. But sometimes that's going on, isn't it? You look at couples and you think, what's he doing with her, or what's she doing with him, because they don't look all that. But we're just looking superficially at the external physical looks, aren't we, rather than what they might be exuding internally.
Absolutely. So confidence and lovability, that means you believe that you are lovable, that is magnetic. There is a literal energetic charge that is created and emitted. Now, we're always emitting an energy, a signal, an energetic signal, but we want to be exuding and emitting this radiance that comes from feeling worthy, in love with yourself, or self-acceptance. I like to think of self-love as self-acceptance and taking care of yourself, healthy habits, healthy thoughts. That is going to speak for itself, because someone is going to feel something in your presence. And it's not about being the most beautiful one, or the slimmest one, or any of that. It's how is he going to feel when he's with you? So if you are feeling great about yourself, you're happy, he's going to like that. It's like, oh, I like being next to her, I like being with her. And it's that intangible energy that is so attractive and makes him go, I really like it here. It's not about the beauty and him not being able to feel that, right? So there are plenty of beautiful women out there who have been single for a long time, and so we know it's not about only the looks, for example.
100%, it's not only about the looks. And I think that's what we've been conditioned to think, though, in society, haven't we, through media, celebrity images and things like that. And we're always trying to measure ourselves against what we've been conditioned to look at and consume.
Absolutely, absolutely. The standard has been put so ridiculously high for these things that it feels unachievable. And let's not forget that if you are a celebrity, you have all the means to do all the things to look that way. And so it just feels unachievable. And then it just makes us go into a deeper, that spiral, right? Adds to the negative self-thought. So that is not what what we need to be looking at. Don't look outside, look within. Turn your gaze in. How are you feeling? Work from there, and you will definitely attract what you feel you deserve. That you cannot escape that.
Thank you so much. It's been such a lovely conversation for you to affirm all the things that I actually teach in my own practice. So I'm really loving this conversation. So is there any other technique that you'd like to share with a woman who might be listening now that thinks, you know what, I've been single a while now and I can relate to myself not having had the best conversations with myself and not looking at myself in the best light? Any other tips for an exercise they could probably put into practice straight away that you think it'd be great to share this with the audience?
Okay, I can tell you, Lyn, my beautiful teacher, Marissa Peer, coming from England, she has the I'm not enough, I am enough movement, right? And because our minds believe what we think, and one of the rules of the mind is repetition. Whatever we keep on seeing, we're going to internalize that. As a teacher, I know that to be true, right? I used to be a primary teacher. So you need to see something more than once to learn it. So I suggest writing I am enough with lipstick on your window, on your mirrors. So Marissa Peer calls it mark your mirror. And I did this, Lyn. So I got a red lipstick. I wrote on all my mirrors, I am enough. And when I'd see that, it would be a reminder, and my brain would slowly take that in until you can tell yourself and feel that. I am enough. It helps. It really helps. So I do, that's a little trick. Wear some red lipstick, write it on your mirror, feel great. I'm not perfect. You don't have to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection.
No.
Perfection is for you to love and accept yourself. That's when you're perfect with all your flaws, and you can be like, I like myself just the way I am, and you have that self-acceptance. That's perfect.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that exercise as well. It's an excellent exercise to implement. I can totally say that I've implemented something similar myself on my own journey, and it definitely does work, and it definitely does help. So Caroline, for those that are listening that would like to connect with you, what's your best contact information?
Okay, so here I am on Facebook as Caroline Ackroyd. I am on Instagram as Hypno Love Coach, altogether, Hypno Love Coach. And my email is also hypnolovecoach@gmail.com.
Excellent. So any final words of wisdom around this topic of how to attract and date a high value man?
Self-acceptance, a high self-perception, how you view yourself, that is what's going to be attractive to a high value man, because a high value man, a man values what he thinks is valuable. So if you think you are valuable and you show up like that, and you're not chasing or doing things like that, you're showing up as a high value woman because you have your standards, right, for yourself. You behave like, I'm the prize.
Yes.
And you're valuable because you're the prize, right? He needs to work for you. He needs to pursue you. And a man needs that. A high value man a man needs the chase. They were hunters, right? So a high value man is going to be attracted to you when he perceives you as a high value woman who is worthy of that chase, of that pursuing. And you can only show up as a high value woman, attractive to a high value man, when you see and feel yourself like the prize that you are, that high value woman with high confidence, high self-worth, and a high self-perception.
Yeah, that's a great tip, actually, not to be overly keen. You know, if a high value man shows interest in you, to not be overly keen and just that cool, calm and collected, and let him do the pursuing.
Absolutely. The prize never chases. If you are pursuing a man, calling him up, sending him texts, it looks like you don't have a life. It looks like you're not looking valuable. Come on. What we value is something that is not easily available, right? And so the same thing applies to dating a high value man. You need to be not overly available, not looking like you need him. He needs you.
Yeah. So not desperate. Obviously, let him know you're interested, but on the other side of the coin, don't act from a place of desperation.
Yes. No, desperation, neediness. That is high value men will run from that. Because that shows that you don't value yourself. You're not behaving like something that is valuable. You're not behaving high value when you're doing that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Caroline. It's been a fascinating topic and a conversation as usual. We'll love to have you on again discussing other themes and topics. But today's topic around how to attract and date a high value man has been fascinating. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lyn. Always such a pleasure. And I would love to be back, of course. Thank you.
So it just leaves me to say, true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group 2 Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.